Okay, good morning. 28th, Kaf Ches, the power of Cheshvan. Today, by the way, is Rabbi Yitzhak Ginsburg's birthday. You should have a happy birthday and go from strength to strength. In addition, every morning we begin with the understanding that our learning of Torah, and all learning of Torah, regardless of whether it's with kavana, without kavana, as we'll talk about, learning Torah brings healing to all living things. Who needs a refuah?
I'll start. Okay, go ahead.
Yehudis Golda Basalita Hana. Chaim Yaakov Zev Ben Sarah. Yosef Yitzhak Ben Lior. Donna Bas Hana. Gary Robertson of George. Yaakov Shaul Ben Hana Miriam. Yehudi Gila Bas Bakulea. Hinda Yehudis Bas Kali.
Shlema B'Koramam.
Amen. Okay, Noam Abraham Ben Atara, Yeshayahu Aaron Ben Sarah, Hannah Rivka Bat Sarah, and a minute, sorry, Sabrina Celestine, daughter of George Leo.
Shlema B'Koramam.
Amen. Thank you.
Refuah Shlema to Rabbi Yisrael Ben Yamin Ben Leah Gittel, to Tuvia Ben Avram,
Amen.
to Devorah Leah Bas Rus Ahuva Liba. Refuah Shlema. Okay? Yom Yom, 28th of Cheshvan. The concept of particular divine providence, Hashgacha Pratis, is this following. Not only are all particular movements of the creatures directed by divine providence, particular divine, meaning specific, each and everything in the universe is moving, growing, exists with particular energies that Hashem is directing on them, which these energies is the life force, and it's what maintains the existence of every creature. So not only that, that's not the only aspect of Hashgacha Pratis, that God is infusing himself, so to speak, into every little minutiae of creation all the time. But even more, the particular movement of any creature is in general terms related to the grand design of creation. You got that? That this blade of grass, that it should move this way, is Hashgacha Pratis, but it's also part of the orchestration of the entirety of everything. And everything is doing its particular part in relation to everything else. The aggregate of all individual acts brings to completion God's grand design in the mystery of all creation. Besoid habriya kulu, in regard to the secret of the entirety of creation. So, ponder this. If the swaying of a blade of grass is brought about by divine providence and is crucial to the fulfillment of the purpose of creation, how much more so with regard to mankind in general and Yisrael, the people close to him in particular. Right. Okay, we're completing this today in Shabbos, our discussion of with kavana, without kavana, what kind of kavana. Before everyone came on, I challenged someone here who came on early to map all this out. We'll see if we can follow all this. Lessons in Tanya starts on page 280. Yeah, 280. And in Likutei Amorim, it starts on page Chufnan Dal at the bottom. So see if you could take notes on this. For me, as I learned this a little bit early this morning, it's a little like I'm asking myself, why do we need to know all this? Let's see. Maybe we'll come up with something. But he is explaining. To understand what it says in the chapter called The Gates of Unities, This is from the Arizal. And what does the Arizal say? When you learn Torah without kavana, and we'll get into what means kavana without kavana, what levels of kavana. We'll just take it, as it goes. Learning Torah without kavana. So learning Torah without kavana, nivroim malachim ba'olam hayetzira. That creates angels in the world of Yetzirah. V'sham hevi parshas the Zohar, and there the Arizal brings from the Zohar in Parshas Shlach that he says, "Beleis koladas avid." There's no voice which is not lost. Now here, lost means lost from this world. There's no voice at all that doesn't ascend somewhere. Bar kala deraisa, except the voice of Torah, this salusa, and davening. The salik ubaka, it goes up and breaks through. Now it's going up and breaking through where? Kamman kavanas HaTorah. Now we'll take a look at kavanas HaTorah. Now what's he mean kavanas HaTorah? You're just learning Torah without any particular kavanas, but you're learning. So Torah without kavana, or belay kavana, and without any kavana. Now he's talking here about tefillah. If you're davening without any kavana at all, right, just saying the words without any intentionality, nidchis lamata lagamri, it's pushed totally down, pushed completely down. It says it's pushed down toward the lower heaven, the lower firmament. And that davening without any kavana is pushed down to kriyan solesa pasilim. That's called a puzzle. It's something a puzzle? It's not kosher. It's not fit for the mizbeah. It's called puzzle. That's puzzle of davening, which is not fit without kavana. Okay, Vayin Sham Pashas Vayakel Si over there, Daf Reish Aleph on the base, where it says that he mila hidaka yoyes. It's received and it's pushed back down. Now, okay, that's davening without kavana. But there's a difference between davening without kavana and learning without kavana. What's the difference? The difference between Torah, which we said Torah does ascend, even if it's without kavana, and davening doesn't ascend. So the difference between Torah and tefillah shalei b'kavana, right? We are doing both without kavana, but there's a difference, we said. Moving me'elov, you can understand it from just the context of what these two things are, the difference between Torah and tefillah. What? When you learn Torah without kavana, you still have to understand it, because if you don't understand it, that's not called learning, right? I'm sitting there with a book and reading words, and you're a little kid, and your father says, "What'd you learn?" Well, I didn't learn anything. I just said the words. Well, then you're not learning, right? So the bottom line in learning is that you have to learn. You have to understand. Without understanding, that's not called learning at all. But you're just learning plainly. You're not learning with any kavana for the sake of heaven. Hashem from the love of Hashem, which is in your heart. Is gili in a revealed way, because the love of Hashem, of course, is always in everybody's heart, though it may not be revealed. You're learning. Why are you learning? Because you're attracted to Torah, you're learning Torah, because you have a hidden natural love. But you're not learning with an intentionality, lehisgadel, to grow or to make it rise, or to aggrandize and learn from it, from one thing to another. You're just learning. The halay salak la'ela means shimsha, because if you were learning without any, with any negative thoughts, that wouldn't go up at all. This is a Zohar, Daf Reish Kof Gimel, Amud Beis. V'hainu shum shemach toivi v'kanosoi, because if you're davening or learning, but you're davening with machshava zores, unintentional thoughts. So these unintentional thoughts, which particularly this, I mean, I find, I don't know what you people find, but it's more kedai in davening for me than it is in learning. Learning, at least I'm paying attention, as now, right? I'm learning, paying attention. I can daven, and then, 5 minutes later, wonder, what did I say? Where was I? Because my mind may have been wandering. So if my mind is wandering, or worse, let's leave it like that, unintentional thoughts. So in Mislabish Be'oisias Adibur, and those unintentional thoughts are enclosed in the words of speech, and they don't allow them to, they don't allow the action that you're doing to rise above it all, because it's being weighted down. He's not saying about machshava zores, he will say that later, but just unintentional thoughts that slip in. Similarly, the tefillah shalebe kavana. Now he goes on. Davening without kavana, when you think actually strange thoughts. Yeah, meaning that they're strange. They're not meant to come into your mind at this point, and they're strange because you should be having different thoughts. But because your intentionality is in heaven, I mean, you are davening, you're praying. Therefore, even though this particular instance of davening, your mind was full of machshava zores, but you are davening. So there's an easy fix. Lachser, what's the easy fix? Then just pray another prayer. When you pray another prayer, even one prayer, we'll look at this with tefillas kol hashana and all the collection of prayers that exist throughout the year. So you can fix a tefillah pasula, that's what we called it earlier. You can fix a pasul tefillah by a proper tefillah. And we'll go deeper. As I said, someone needs to draw a map of this. In Parshas Pekudei it says, Gavrakia Tata, that this does ascend. Now we get into, and this is a large part of Kuntres Acharon is dealing with contradictions from one place, particularly in different places in Kabbalah, and trying to reconcile them. So it says in another place, in the Zohar, in Parshas Pekudei, that Gavrakia Tata, that it goes into, it does rise, but it rises into the lowest levels. In Parshas Vayakhel, and in another, in Parshas Vayakhel, again in the Zohar, Mashma de Dafke Ihi Milakadaka. That means if it's you may not have kavana, but at least you're saying the right thing. Yeah, it does go up. The salkin ima, and your prayer goes up with that intentionality. At least you're saying the words right. Until the air of the lowest elevation, the lowest heaven. So, he says there's no kasha. One says one thing, one says another thing. Like kasha midday. There's no question on this, because the Rakieta Ta, one says it goes up to the lower level. Me'inin Rakia, it goes up into those levels. Davidagal Alma, that the Rakia which governs the entire world. Sheba Parshas Pekudei, and then now, in other words, there's an agreement on that. Just what level of Rakia, what level of firmament is it that governs the entire world? Parshas Pekudei and Malchus de Asiya. So in Parshas Pekudei, he's referring to Malchus of Asiya, right, the lower world. With Parshas Vayakhel in the Zoh de Asiya, it's going up to Zoh of Asiya. That's where really controls the world. As brought apparently to resolve this in the Eitz Chaim Shar Hashemus Perek Gimel, Gabe Zoh the Asiya Ayin Sham, where he speaks about Zoh. Zoh, by the way, is the midos of any world. And he says, so is it Malchus that controls the worlds? Well, of course, all the flows are coming through Malchus, but what Malchus flows through comes from Zoh. So it just depends which way you're looking at it. And that which is implicit at first glance anyway, in Parsha B'Kudei, the gam tefila pasula oila, that even a puzzle davening, meaning one with mashava zoros, does go up ad hechel harisha, to the first level, shememena nidchas lamata. Yeah, it goes up, but from there it's pushed back down. V'hu bezod debriya, and it's pushed back down. It goes up to the level of zod debriya, and then it's pushed down. So the Kaimelon, so this establishes for us that even all of the sins, mamish, the light sins and the serious sins, oilus lasham, go up somewhere, but they may be pushed back down. But they do go up somewhere. Afila ad hechel, adalad, even to the fourth chamber. I'm not clear. I don't know what the fourth chamber is that he's referring to. But it's, even higher than that, 4 levels up. Mishikosiv in Daf Reish Nun Beis of the Zohar Amar Aleph. Elavada she'ein mahus aliyas shoves. But clearly, what's clear from all of this, even he says, the Alter Rebbe, without looking, it is clear that not all of these are equal. It can go up, so it doesn't leave at all. Some say it goes up here and then it's pushed down. Others say it's up here and higher and then it goes pushed down. So clearly, all of these are not equal. And there's no comparison between them. Ela b'shituf Hashem. Only that they're both called prayer. Right? Shituf Hashem. What you're calling this. It's prayer. Okay. And prayer with kavana, without kavana, with mashava zoros, with mashava zoros. Does it stay down here below? Does it go up? Does it get pushed down? But nevertheless, it's prayer, right? And you can't escape the fact that you are standing there, at least with enough mesiras nefesh to take your time to daven instead of doing something else. And there, and it's also what's written there, Daf Reish Mem Zayin, Shebehechel Habeis, that it goes up into Hechel Habeis. I'm skipping his brackets, and Mimenu, and Mamoina al Halabushin, it goes up to Hechel Habeis, to the one who is appointed. This is a spiritual being, an angel. Al Halavushim, the one who is appointed on the garments. Shemal Bishim Hanashama Mamasa Hamisra, is like a tailor. There's somebody up there who's a tailor who dresses the tefillahs that come up, or the mitzvahs which come up. Even though they may only rise into the lower level of Gan Eden, Mishikosav Sham Daf Reish Yud, as is written there on that particular page. Now, the Hine Tefillah Pasula. Now, if it's a pasula, right, it's really puzzle that we tried to define that earlier, is full of mashava zoros. He says something interesting, that a tefillah pasula is a difa matayra shalei l'shma mamish. It's better than Torah shalei l'shma mamish. Shalei l'shma mamish means you're learning for ulterior motives. Right? You're learning to aggrandize yourself. That's the one that's brought a lot. So Torah pasula, one that's not done with intention, or one that's done trying to pray while other mashava zoros are surrounding you, that kind of tefillah is better than learning Torah. Because remember we said at the beginning, there's always an advantage of learning Torah over tefillah, because in learning Torah, remember we said at the beginning, you can't be yosi learning Torah without at least understanding it, right? Right. So any learning is going to have some sense of intentionality. I'm understanding it. Otherwise, it's not called learning. Davening, on the other hand, I can stand and daven, and my mind can be anywhere, but I'm standing there davening. But that's avoida pasula, because no prayer. It's not called prayer. It may be mouthing the words, but it's not prayer. So here we'll start this sentence again. The fila pasula, a apostle davening, is better than Torah that's learned for an ulterior motive. Shehu tachas hashemes, which the Torah for an ulterior motive stays under the sun. The fila hu gavrakia, and davening, even an invalid prayer, goes up into some level of the firmament. Aval Torah stam, excuse me, but plain Torah, that's not Torah that has a negative intentionality. Rak me'ava misuteres tivi, you're learning Torah because you're drawn to it from a natural love of wanting to learn Torah. Legora mehevel pihem shel tenka shel beis rabban. That's not worse, meaning that's as good as the Torah that's learned by innocent children. That's the Torah that when you first go to the Gan, to the kindergarten, and you're learning, and you're a person without any sin, because obviously you're not bas or bar mitzvah yet, so there's no sin. So he says that Torah stam, that's not shaloi l'shma, that doesn't have a negative intent, but you're learning rak ma'ava misuteres because of the hidden love, the natural hidden love. Legora mehevel pihem shel tunekas beis rabba. And it's not any worse than the Torah of innocent little children. This salik la'ela, which does go above. Why does it go above? Because it's a breath that has no sin in it. This salik la'ela, and it goes up above. Afim hu shalei l'shma mamish, even though it may not be l'shma mamish, I'm not learning it for the sake of learning Torah. Miyiras, but maybe I'm learning it miyiras haratzua. I'm learning it because I'm afraid of the Rebbe's strap. Right? He says, I got to sit and learn, or I've got to daven. So I'm doing it. But that's okay. Because even though that's why you're doing it, there's no negative intention there. But you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So even if you're doing it, miyiras haratzua shebeyad hasefer, even if you're doing it from the fear of the strap in the hands of the teacher. V'ayin shamsi over there, daf reishin and hey, amid beis. Shahamalochim he malin hahevel shel tenikus shes beis rabban. The angels lift up the prayer of the small children who are learning in Talmud Torah. Ad atzilus, even to atzilus. So that ends the two-letter discussion about with kavana, without kavana. It's fairly a lot of possibilities here. Yeah. Tasharifka.
I'm just laughing because we'd be better off as small school children. So if we could have the innocence of the child with the fear, instead of the fear of teacher, it's the fear of heaven. That's all. I mean, that's okay.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, why doesn't that translate? And when we're going back to general kavana, we're doing it because what Hashem wants us to do. We're doing it because the teacher's looking over us. Hashem is looking at us, and that's what's happening. Okay, and that's one point. The other thing is, I love where it says, and I remember learning this many times.
Which one?
If you take one parak of your davening and really do it well, and then try another one. Let's put it all together, and you can have one good davening for the whole year. Good, like don't overextend yourself. Let's just be realistic,
right? And don't get depressed by the bad davening you just had. Because you can always lift it all up another time. Yeah,
very beautiful. That's very encouraging. That's it.
So, I mean, truthfully, that's for me personally. That's one of my takeaways from this. I'm not going to worry too much about my tefillahs, you know.
How far am I going? Where am I going?
Yeah, I'm just going to thank God that he's given me the opportunity, turned me on to this, so to speak. You know, he's given me the opportunity to stand in front of him. And once in a while, I'll have that kavana. Okay. And God, you know what, God? You'll forgive me anyway, won't you, for all the times that I learned without kavana, without kavana. Because I'm doing it. Masahuaika. I'm doing it.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Just do it. Okay. A good Shabbos Mevorchim Kislev. We'll see you Sunday.
Good job.
Great. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Chodesh Tov.
Chodesh Tov.